My apologies, I'm a bit late on this because I just kind of forgot, so... But it's okay. It's gonna be around for the next, I think, until after the month is already done on Global. So you should be okay. You have a little bit of time to think about it if you have the spare gems too. But costume discounts are currently up. You will see. These are the Hawk Pass ones, but you see when you click on a costume, it shows the discount from 30 gems all the way down to 20 gems for UR, from 20 gems to 15 gems for SSR, and SRs don't matter. What was it? 10 to 7. So, what do I recommend buying? Because, I mean, a lot of players right now are gonna want to take advantage of this discount, but at the same time, it's been 2 back-to-back must-summon festival banners, right? Ascanor and Meliodas. Crazy time to even have spare gems to buy costumes to begin with, right? So which ones do I even recommend? It's really simple. You gotta look at your box and think, what are the characters that right now really carry my team in PvP? Because that's all that really matters. When it comes down to bird, deer, and dogs, you don't need costumes. Like, your characters will work off their passives on those game modes. PvP, it's where every little bit of stat counts. You may even think that for dogs it really does matter, but truthfully it doesn't. Not as much at the very least. So for example, if you use Tonar for dogs, she has enough free cosmetics that I would say buying cosmetics for her is not really worth it. Even if your Tonar struggles to do damage to take off ultimate gauge, it's probably still not worth it. You're better off using your gems to buy costumes for a character, like for example, I have by color. I prefer by this. For example, where is he? God damn it, Estarossa. If you just pulled for Meliodas, the best course of action is to prioritize buying costumes for the characters around Meliodas. The only characters right now that you can't buy costumes for at a discount are Merlin and Ascanor. Really annoying. The Festival Merlin and the newest Festival Ascanor. But for example, Estarossa here, if you pulled for Meliodas, I would highly recommend, first of all, try to get the free costume that came from Hawk Pass, with Hawk Pass points. That would be my first recommendation. And focus on buying the UR costumes. I would personally focus on the UR costumes if you don't have spare materials, right? Because the difference is, UR costumes will cost you 30 materials to max out. The SSR costumes will cost you 90 materials. So that's the distinction you have to make. The SSR costumes aren't inherently worse than the UR costumes because they, at the end of the day, will get you the same point at the end, right? When you max out the SSR costumes, they will be a UR costume maxed out. It will just cost you more material. So how much raid do you farm? Do you farm raid every day? Do you? Promise? Okay. If you farm raid every day, then you might consider buying SSR costumes, but if you don't, I would stay away from it just because you want to upgrade these costumes, and always focus on haircuts first. Haircuts are the most important costume, always. HP is by far and away the most important stat. It gives you more CC, and tanking in general is better with HP than with defense. Defense as is, like raw defense, is almost a useless stat unless a character uses defense for damage, like Tormiel, like Griamore, rest in peace. But the other stats are useful. Crit resistance, crit defense is useful, just the raw stat of defense is completely pointless for the most part, while attack and HP are actually useful, especially if you see a haircut that has lifesteal. I mean, the Japanese version, but this is the Japanese for lifesteal. So if you see a haircut with lifesteal, I would take that it's much better than taking a haircut without lifesteal, because lifesteal is the most important HP related stat. So look at your box, look at the teams that you use for PvP, and think about what characters are the carriers for your team. If you currently use Chandler, it is a good consideration, but also think about this. Is Chandler sort of towards the end of his lifespan? Probably, right? Chandler has already had his Holy Relic. He is still very good, but he's not the best anymore. So if you don't already have max costumes for Chandler, which he doesn't max I5, I would consider staying away from characters that you don't see yourself still using for the next year, if that makes any sense. Think about the characters that seem to have a longevity going forward. Characters that are currently good, but don't already have holy relics, I think are in the best position. Because they aren't at their prime yet, if that makes any sense. The characters that already have holy relics and are good, sure, they're good now, but they have competition, and once the competition also gets relics, they're gonna be replaced. That's, I think, very important to consider when you're spending gems right now at a very trying time on a costume for a character that you might not use in 4 to 5 months. I picked up Zeldris here. He's still a very, very great character for different teams, but he is, right now, sort of towards the end of his lifespan. What team does use... What meta team uses Zeldris right now? No team. You can use Zeldris for, like off-meta teams, right? Lilia... Trying to think of other teams. There are other teams, right? He's really good. But this other Zeldris is better for the Demon team, and he doesn't have a relic yet. So potentially, he's more future-proof. So if you're gonna pick between a character for one Zeldris or another, I would pick this Zeldris instead. So think about that. Because, you know, obviously in a video, I'm not gonna be like, okay, this character, you buy costumes. Okay, you buy costumes for the end. Okay, you buy costumes for Skadi. No, you don't buy costumes for Skadi. It's just a PV unit. You get what I mean. Think about characters you currently use that you think can reliably last long. DN is a character that's gonna last long. Why? She doesn't have a relic yet. She's currently very good. On the meta, she is still usable. Like, she is still a meta character. Not at the top of the meta still, but again, she doesn't have a relic yet. So buying her haircuts is huge. Now for the end, for example, you might even want to think about picking up chest pieces as well. But as a rule of thumb, always prioritize haircuts over anything. DN is another character that already has had a Hawk Pass costume, so pick that up obviously first. And weapons are always your second priority, because attack is more important than defense, and it will give you more CC, I believe. I think weapons give more CC than chest pieces, because they have the same amount of defense. I don't know, actually. They might give the exact same, because it's 210 for 210. The difference is that HP, obviously, gives you by far and away the most. But as a rule of thumb, if you're not, you know, with a ton of gems right now, because obviously Melly's banner is currently out and not everyone has already stopped summoning for Melly, you would consider that. So I think that broadens enough that it's understandable what I'm trying to convey. Look for characters that have a future, not characters that are good enough right now. Good enough right now means they won't be good enough in a few months. The meta has been progressing very fast since Ascanor, right? Ascanor and Melly kicked off so many characters from being usable. It's insane, right? So think about a character like Merlin. Do you think she's still going to be good in 6 months? I think so. So it's worth buying costumes for her. It's as simple as that. Is a character going to still be good in 6 months? Yeah? Okay, then go ahead. Buy haircuts, buy weapons if you need to. But if you see a character, let's say for example, Lolly Merlin. I think Lolly Merlin is a fantastic character right now. Is she gonna be good in 6 months? I'm not sure. I don't know. Probably not, actually. Probably not. Maybe. She just doesn't do the most damage. She's here for other reasons, right? She already has a relic. That's not a good point for this character specifically, because I just said Merlin already has a relic, and I said she's still going to be good, but it's because she doesn't rely on damage. She relies on her passive skills. Now, I could be wrong. Merlin could be bad in 6 months. We could get a cleansing meta. Anything can happen, right? But that's about it. I hope that helps. You think about what characters you want to buy for. If you want a straight answer, I would buy mostly for festival characters. Festival characters last longer, and newer festival characters. So don't buy for Lost Vein Meliodas, right? You look at Lost Vein Meliodas, yes, he can get a relic. And that relic could be very powerful, right? But check out his stats. His stats are horrendous for a character of his age. For a character right now, right? His stats are terrible. 82% crit chance doesn't cut anymore because he doesn't give himself any crit chance. Unless the relic gives him crit chance, which fair enough. But that crit resistance is horrible because he only has 100% crit defense. 100% crit defense is a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't cut anymore. It doesn't cut anymore. His stats don't cut. That's the problem. So no old festivals, most of them are already ran their course. I think Lolly Merlin's the only one that's still relevant of any of the old festivals. Like Ascanor has already ran his course. It's kind of over and done unit. So think about it. Make good decisions. I believe in you.